Welcome to Massive Beers. Yeah, Matt, Massive Beers, doing beer reviews. That's what I do here. So, yeah. Guess what we got going on today? I'll give you one guess. Mystery beers. That's right. A little bit of mystery beers, courtesy of my boy Carson from Florida. Sent off a box of beers. It's not a box of beers unless there's mystery beers involved. So, let's look around for my bottle opener. And now we'll talk a little bit. Hey, there it is. You dive into this sucker. No idea what it is. He sent off a bunch of different beers that were non-mystery beers. So now we get to dive into this sucker. First things first. I think this one might have some time on it. Look at that little old crustiness kind of floating around on the top of that cap. So we might get a little bit of time in this sucker. Just pour it and see what we got going on. Ooh hoo hoo. Ooh hoo hoo. That looks like the big stuff. I'm going to leave a little bit in there just in case. Yes, classic, awesome, fantastical mystery beer stylings. And wrapping the classic paper towel. I mean, barley wine. It just looks like barley wine. Old, oxidized, in a good way. Could be a bad way, but most likely a good way. Kind of barley wine. Could be a blend. It's not a stout. Could be a sour, too. But that looks like barley wine through and through. Man, I gotta lock my ISO down. See how that ISO is kind of bopping around? I just haven't had the time to do it. I'm gonna have to do it. Sorry. Anyway, nose. It is a barley wine, by the way. Classic. I'm gonna have to. The real test here is gonna be to figure out if this is a barrel-aged barley wine or just an old barley wine. Knee-jerk reaction. I'm going with just a base barley wine. There's some spirit kind of elements to this, but this has got to have some time on it, man. Not just from viewing that cap with that kind of messed up kind of seal oxidation on it. It just has this rich oldness to it that's really hard to mimic unless you do barrel aging. So that's where it's going to be really hard to kind of call that out. Find a little bit more in the taste. But it is all the dates and figgies. So usually the progression on a lot of barley wines is, brown sugar, caramel, date figgy, sugar daddy, raisinette. This is like a date figgy, and it's already leaning into raisinette, so it's skipping that sugar daddy portion of the show. That makes me think that maybe it's non-barrel aged, and it might be an American barley wine with a lot of time on it. Maybe I could be wrong, but what I'm getting here is huge date figginess. Yeah, there's like there's a spiciness to it, like a blackstrap molasses spiciness that makes me think maybe a little bit of barrel char going on, but it's rich, it's decadent. I mean, based off of the nose, I would say it's several years old, 5 years give or take old, because it has that kind of vibe going on. That bottle looks a little funky too, so, but yeah, barley wine through and through. Let's just dive in this sucker. Cheers, y'all. Okay. What is this? There's a tartness to it. There's a tartness to this. Chocolate. Excuse me. Dark chocolate. Powdery chocolate. Comes off a little thin. I might walk back my barley wine here. I might go with a blend. Because it has a lot of stout characteristics to it. It's not a stout. It doesn't drink like a stout. But that powdery chocolate. This roastiness to it. I think this might be a blend of a barley wine and a stout. Because there's barley wine elements there too. That sweet stickiness, Even my lips right now, just everything. That kind of thing going on. Not that you can't get that with the stout, but the way it comes off in here and that kind of, that date figgy kind of caramelly kind of stickiness. I think this is a blended beer. I think it actually has hit a barrel at one point, because there is, while it is sweet and sticky, there's an inherent dryness to it. Could be roasted malts in there, that barrel combining with a roasted malt from like a stout portion of show. Could do that. There's a tartness to it. I think that's just a fruitiness from a spirit that I'm construing as a tartness. This is really interesting beer. I think it has some time on it. All over the place on this one. So I think this is a blended barley wine stout blend, barrel aged. So it's a blend of barrels too. If I was really, really feeling it, I'd want to throw a fruit in here. You know, like something like a grape musty kind of thing, like a little wine. Ooh. There we go. Are we onto something here? Are we wine barrel? I think that's what we're doing here. I think that's where we're at. Okay, let's walk this back a little bit. I really want to stick with the blend. Is it a chocolate? It's mystery beers. It's what I want it to be. I don't have to be right. I just have to say what I want to say. I think this is a whiskey barrel aged barley wine and a wine barrel aged stout blended. That's the one I'm getting here. With time on it. 4 or 5 years old. So a 4 or 5 year old barley wine stout blend with multiple barrels going on. Some spirit, some wine barrel. I know that's a lot. I know that's a lot going on here. So to throw that guess out there is kind of bonkers, but we're doing it anyway. Now Carson told me there was a note on one of these, so I have to open this one up with relative gentleness so I don't miss the note on this one. So ABV, I didn't talk about that. It's gotta be high. 12.3. That's my guess, and I'm sticking to it. That's quite the. I haven't done a bunch of mystery beers, and that's quite the guess to throw out there. So we'll see what's what. I really do enjoy it though. I don't think it's like prime. I think might have had a little bit of better day on it with a little bit of time, a little fresher maybe. Like, let's say this is 5 years old. It probably drank better like 2 to 3 years old. If it is 2 to 3 years old, it probably drank a little better a year or two ago. I dig this. I think it's a tasty beer. This has got Coppertail written on it. That's the kind of vibe. Like, with Carson living in Florida, I get so many different, beers and stuff like that from different places that do barrel aging stuff, but there's such a uniqueness to it. This has, like, Coppertail vibes for me. Okay, it's Bourbon County barley wine. So there you go. There's no note on this one. This is the 2000. What year? Why am I not seeing the year on this? It's old. It's a 12-ounce bottle. It is. God, everything's so hard to see when you get old. 11.7, I think it is. Goose Island. So this is 2014 Bourbon County barley wine. It's actually one of my favorite barley wines of all time. This year specifically. Serving a sniffer. Got close on that one. Thank you very much, bud. I have not had this in several of years. These 12-ounce Bourbon Counties are few and far between. I wonder if that tartness, it's got to be time. Maybe something a little fruitiness in there. But it still is quite delicious. And it's a barley wine, but with that time, you're talking about 2014, you're talking about 8 years, and how long it's spent in a barrel. Probably looking at this thing being, closer to 10 than 8. As far as the beer goes, develops in a bottle for over 5 years, it says on here. I forgot that they had that written on there, so there you go. Man, thank you very much, dude. This is a very cool beer. As a mystery beer, beer in general is very cool, but as a mystery beer, yeah. Pour the rest of that out there. God damn, this ISO has pissed me off. Anyway, I'll get the camera down. Anyway, no, this is very fun. So I said 12.3, it's 11.7, so I was 5% off. 0.5% off, sorry. I said a barley wine blend of a stout with a wine barrel. That would make me wrong. I said barley wine and barrel, then I was right, but the stout in wine barrel technically makes me wrong. There is a tartness to this. It's not sour, but there's a big fruity component to this, and within how dark and rich it is, that's where my stout wine kind of angle came from. I am not upset with what I said, because I think if there was 5 people here and I had them drink it without knowing what I said, I think they'd get to the same conclusion I did. But mystery beers are fun. They're fun because we get them right, we get them wrong, we get them somewhere in between. And plus, people wrap up beers like this and send them to people. That's the crazy part. Thank you very much, Carson, for sending this off. Very cool of you. Very fun beer. Can't wait to drink on this. Let it warm up a little bit. I'm doing 3 beer reviews tonight. Ooh, 3. I did a lager. I was like, do the mystery beer, because I thought this might be a little bit bigger. Then I was going to do a Belgian dark. That's not happening now. So probably just 2 beer reviews after opening this as a mystery beer. So there you go. Thank you very much. This is one of the better barley ones I've had as well. It's worthy of being in a conversation without a doubt. It was one of my favorite ones of all time. Actually, it might have been 2012. I could be wrong. Probably 2014, right around there. I love this beer. It's seen better days, I believe. It's still infinitely tasty. But I could see this, a couple years ago being a little bit more extra. Value and availability on this. I mean, I don't really do that in the videos now, but I should really kind of touch on stuff like this. These can be had, but at this point, secondary value and something like this is going to be decently high. Man. Yeah. You'll like this. If you like barley wine, well, what do you want me to say? So there you go. Let me know if you've had this. I'm curious. I mean, almost, if you're into beer enough to where you're watching me and you've been into it long enough, for about 10 years or so, chances are you've had this beer. If you've had this beer previously, let me know your thoughts on the old 12-ounce bottles of the barley wine. I'm really curious to see what you guys think, and gals and everybody in between. If you've had this beer previously and you've had it recently, anywhere in this 12-ounce range, that 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 15 is when they went to the big bottles. Let me know what you think. Has it held up? Is it a little bit kind of lost its zip, lost its fastball, especially if you've had it recently? And what you think of these barley wines in general? I know Bourbon County, I don't believe they've done the base barley wine in quite some time. I think that's a shame, because I think it was up there with the Bourbon County Stout. At least the older bottles were. So yeah, give me your thoughts. I want to know. There you go. A little mystery beer in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hope to see you next time. Cheers, y'all.